I love the Burning Crusade. In fact, the reason why I'm playing the vanilla anniversary servers is to prepare for another round of TBC. I want to have the best gear possible heading into Outland leveling and Karazhan raiding, even if it means I'll replace all my gear in a week or two in TBC Classic. It's all pretty awesome. The Outland zones for leveling are great, except for Blade's Edge Mountains, of course. Heroics at level 70 feel like a good challenge with solid upgrades. 10-man Karazhan is chill, and seeing a Dragon Spine trophy drop off of Gruul for one of the guild members is always exciting for everybody. Pre-nerf Tier 5 rating was the pinnacle, in my opinion, of rating in the Classic Trio, with Lady Vash being the most satisfying progression in killing my Classic experience. Iconic villains in Black Temple and Sunwell with Illidan and Kill Jaden, respectively, rounded out an amazing set of raids. I'm excited to go through the Burning Crusade journey once more, but when it's all said and done, the anniversary servers will inevitably move from TBC to Wrath. In the first iteration of Classic, TBC was left in the dust. Sure, you could go back to Outland, but not as current content. I can't help but ask the question, will Blizzard do something different this time around and leave an option to continue to play TBC while the majority of players move on to Wrath? Could Blizzard actually give us a TBC era server like they did for Vanilla? And would anyone even want to play it? Well, in this video, I'd like to answer these questions and paint the picture for why I think TBC era servers would work and would actually have a sustained player base. For those that are asking why would my opinion matter? Well, I'm just a guy on the internet. But I'm a guy who loves vanilla and TBC and has played the classic era version of the game for the past 2 years while many had forgotten the servers even existed. So I think I've been able to tease out why people continue to play on fully progressed era servers, as I have firsthand experience doing just that. People love the classic trilogy. To go from a level 1 in Elwyn Forest all the way to level 80 defeating heroic Lich King is truly an epic journey. Going into the trilogy, I think most players would have chosen either Vanilla or Wrath as their favorite expansions out of the three, with TBC coming in last. But after playing the three expansions, I can confidently say that TBC is my personal favorite expansion, and I know that I'm not the only one. Looking at the WoW forums, there are tons of threads calling for the creation of TBC era. People want an opportunity to finish their Outland characters, acquire items that they were unable to get during current phase content, and some people just want to replay the raids and content over and over again. But is there a big enough population to warrant the creation of a TBC era server, such that the server would live and not die out? Well, I think looking to the vanilla era servers paint a really helpful picture. When TBC originally, well, not originally, but TBC Classic re-released in 2021, Classic era was dead. On the US Whitemane server, once TBC Classic launched, there were only two guilds rating Naxxramas, Phase 7 and Pasta Sauce. On the PvE era servers, I think Encore was the only one rating Nax. Um, so that's kind of it. A game that had over 100,000 US players had three guilds rating Naxxramas on Classic era, 120 people. Over the course of the next 2 years, though, the Classic era rating population slowly started to grow. Then something pretty magnificent happened in spring of 2023, Ulduar. The true classic vanilla enjoyers who had made it to Ulduar and Wrath had come to see a very different raid scene. Sure, Naxxramas and Wrath was palatable because it was easy and a revisit to one of the most iconic raids in WoW history. But as the difficulty meter was up to big time in Ulduar, the classic Andes stepped away and back into the comfortable world of vanilla, where new raiding characters were leveled and journeys began. Classic era blossomed from less than a 5,000 rating population to 23,000 active weekly raiders in a span of 8 months. That's 360% growth in 8 months. Players missed their favorite version of the game and wanted to go back, even if it meant they were playing on fully progressed servers with GDKPs and weird economies. They did it because they loved the game. Even today, with the fresh vanilla experience available through the anniversary realms and seasonal content with Season of Discovery still running, Classic Era Vanilla has over 11,000 active raiders weekly. These fully progressed servers that have been around essentially since 2019 have an active and dedicated player base. So, era servers do work. People have shown that they will continue to play, even with other options available to them. But do players have the same draw to the Burning Crusade as they did to Vanilla? While I don't think TBC era would be as popular as Vanilla era, I believe there would be enough interest in active players to populate and sustain a TBC era server. Not just because of the number of forum posts about the topic on Blizzard forums, but because TBC has four qualities that make vanilla era successful. In playing Classic Era since the fall of 2022 and rating over the past 2 years, I think I can distill down into four qualities what has made Vanilla Era successful: expansion diehards, completionists, niche community enjoyers, and out of reach legendaries. So, first one is the expansion diehards. These are the players, guilds, and individuals that just love the expansion. Vanilla, or in this case TBC, was their first entry into WoW 2 decades ago, and the expansion has a nostalgic experience for them. This group comprises of individuals that want to push personal performance to the max, get 99s in logs in all the raids, and truly master a class. They are part of guilds that push for speedrunning records, and making seconds of improvements in clear times is worth their collective time and effort. This group also makes up individuals who aren't as tryhard, but simply love the raids and environment. In Classic Era, the idea of raiding Max Ramus weekly, even if you don't push it to the limit, is a dream. So, what does this look like for TBC? Well, players, regardless of the expansion, love to be the best at something. That's no different between vanilla and TBC, as there are people who love speedrunning TBC raids and did everything they could to push personal performance during TBC Classic. Players would flex 99s during TBC, and the same drive would push certain people to chase the collection of all of these 99s in a TBC era. For this group, the idea that they get to face Illidan and kill Jaden weekly is exciting to them, or just flying around Negron fills them with cozy vibes like nothing else in gaming can. When you look at Warcraft log data of the classic trilogy, TBC had the most consistent rating player base out of all the expansions. This consistency leads me to believe that there are players who may be dedicated and consistent with the TBC era as well. And the next is completionists. These are the individuals that want to collect everything. They want to collect all the mounts, farm every reputation, and finish gearing out their characters. When raids are released in vanilla and TBC, expectations around getting full bis look different than what they look like in Cataclysm or even like Season of Discovery currently. The expectation is that you will not have your full bis prior to getting to the next phase of content in vanilla and in TBC. There simply are not enough items that drop in raids on a weekly basis to warrant players getting full bis. When it comes to TBC, players may have multiple characters they want to complete and get full Sun and Will bis. Now, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but people enjoy this completionist perspective. And like I said earlier, this goes beyond rating and into, collecting mounts or reputations or more. I enjoy doing this in vanilla, and I'm still after certain items that have eluded me on my druid, and I would love this opportunity in TBC. The next are niche community enjoyers. When you are around like minded people that enjoy a more niche experience, like an era server, you inevitably build relationships and bonds with those individuals over the shared experience. Era communities are tight knit and can be very welcoming when you run into someone new who also shares the love of a particular expansion. There is common ground between players immediately who choose to play an era server over other alternatives. Now, these three qualities are the drivers to which appeals to the creation of an era server. But I think this fourth item is a quality that connects the previous three in a way that make both vanilla and TBC successful era server experiences. And that's because of the legendaries. But not just any legendaries, but iconic weapons that are not guaranteed drops. Do you remember progressing from vanilla to TBC and there was that one tank in your guild that had 1 out of 2 bindings and never completed their Thunder Fury? Or did you have that rogue or fury warrior that left TBC with only one warglaive? These players left expansions with incomplete journeys. Something was left on the table that was just out of grasp, and all they need is that one more lucky raid to join the ranks of the upper echelon players that have Thunder Fury or warglaives. I mean, are you a main tank Chad in vanilla if you don't have a Thunder Fury? Nah, I don't think so. And the damage output for a rogue or fury warrior that has a set of warglaives versus just one of them is an addition of 200 attack power against demons, which is greater than a flask in TBC, and the proc chance of an extra 450 haste. You are not him unless you have a set of warglaives at TBC. These legendary weapons aren't like Wrath legendaries or Atiesh in vanilla, where as long as you were next in line in your guild or had the most gold in GDKP, you were going to get your legendary weapon. No, these items were not guaranteed. They were left to chance drops. You could go a few months up to a year without seeing these items drop. And this is why vanilla and TBC work greater than other expansions for an era experience. It's the pursuit of these items, which is enough to drive players to create systems and structures to obtain them. Guilds, raids, and teams are formed by these players with the drive to complete their journeys. And as these raid communities are formed, relationships are relationships are built. People develop ties over shared experiences and the unique bond of choosing an era server while many other options are available. As said in the Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. This is true for any version of WoW, as players will continue to play the game because of the relationships they've built with others. As a side note, I think Thoradal is a draw for hunters to create raids and communities due to the item being left as a chance to drop, but I just don't think this has the same power to draw people in to create raids or communities like a player that has an incomplete set of Warglaves. In the future, when TBC Anniversary has completed its 5 phase cycle, the inevitable next step will be Wrath Anniversary. I personally have no desire to go to Wrath this time around, and if I feel this way, I know that I'm not the only one. But what does that mean for my characters that I will have invested 2 years of my time into? It's my hope that Blizzard will choose a different option this time around. TBC is a perfect expansion for an era server. Expansion diehards, completionists, and niche community enjoyers will sustain these servers. As they get started, they'll likely follow a similar path to the vanilla era servers, where initially there are only a few guilds that continue to raid. But over time, players will get that itch to jump back into Outland. They will remember the items they haven't gotten on their characters. The dream and chance of getting legendaries becomes all too real, and players will choose to log back into one of the most beloved WoW experiences with the Burning Crusade. The developers at Blizzard have made known time and time again that they want to hear from the players, and if there is demand, they are open to delivering WoW experiences that players want. So, what do you think? I know it's a long way off at this point, but do you plan on going to Wrath Anniversary this time around? If Blizzard provided an option for you to copy your Anniversary character to a TBC era server, would you do it? And lastly, do you think a TBC era server would work? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening all the way to the end of this video. I'm just a guy on the internet, but I love TBC and hope Blizzard will provide the ability for players to continue to play a beloved expansion whenever the itch to Outland arises.